This is a story about how a well-known YouTuber came face to face against one of his closest friends.
Josh, good luck, bud.
You too.
In search of becoming the best player in the world. Get ready as DistantCoder looks to claim his third straight championship title, facing off against Bean Soldier, his toughest opponent yet. We're about to watch history in the making.
I'm about ready, guys. Congratulations on making it to the finals. Best of 3 of the Elestrals Webcam Championships. I'm excited for an epic clash. I wish you guys the best.
Amazing. Josh, good luck, bud.
You too.
I will go.
All right, it's hype, man. It is hype. These two casters throwing down. Coder gonna kick this one off with a Zaptor and an Astravid. That's exactly what you want to see if you're Coder getting this one kicked off. It just gives you the opportunity to have so much flexibility looking at the top 3 of your deck and setting up for future turns. I mean, you just love to see that. What is he gonna grab? Both these casters running Earth Beatdown, so we're gonna see a little bit of a mirror match. I think the keys to this clash are gonna really come down to who's able to use their equal links the most effectively, and if and who is able to use their Viscerus to get its effect off. Let us know in the chat who's winning this one. DistantCoder, Bean Soldier, best of 3 for the championship. DistantCoder was the winner of our last webcam tournament with a very similar deck. Bean Soldier, a member of the Elestronauts with him. We're gonna see at least 2 back row, 3 back row, and passing his turn. Bean Soldier facing down a difficult start, having to deal with an Astravid and 3 face down. Do not forget, ladies and gentlemen, to drop a follow. Head over to discord.gg/Elestrals so you don't miss out on this epic gameplay. Elechick hitting the field. Does Coder have a Gorgon's Gaze to respond? Or is he gonna let this fly? Looks like he's gonna probably let it fly and let Bean search out his Demeter. Coder's still thinking about it. It's a poison-tipped arrow. So PTA gonna drop the attack of Elechick down to 2, which means that a Demeter buff does not allow it to hit over Astravid. So there is some use there in not just maintaining field presence. He's gonna give him the Demeter, but he is gonna make sure that that Elechick is no longer a threat at the end of the turn and prevent the setup play with the Demeter in general. So the expend happens. Coder spends an extra spirit. The poison-tipped arrow does take him out, and now Astravid sits on an open field to attack, which is a good place to be, because if you're Coder, you have a few plays here. You can easily cast another Earth Elestral. You can enchant your Astravid again to get another effect off, kind of set up for the mid game. Either way, assuming your counter rune pressure exists, you have all flexibility in the world to just fire off a little chip shot here. He's gonna go for the cast, gonna throw down the Rummagem. That's a huge value win. The Rummagem gets him exactly what he wants. It's gonna be that Stellar Viscerus. As a reminder, these Stellar cards, only 99 of them exist. Coder has 3 of the Stellar Viscerus. Only 99 of them exist. And Coder's got 3 of the 99. He also has 3 of the 99 Stellar Equal Links. I have the 3 of the other 99. we have 6 of the 99 together. Oh. Rummagem and Astravid hit directly onto Bean for 2 chip damage spirits. And now Bean facing down 2 mini Elestrals. Only 2 attack on both of these. Not a huge threat. He looks like he's going to throw down his Astravid of his own and get that effect off. I bet you Coder's wishing he saved that PTA for this moment, because that Astravid could be a challenge to take down. Viscerus can't get through it without a Demeter. Bean Soldier gets to look at the top 3 of his deck and add 1 to hand. Then again, I emphasize again, one of the reasons why Astravid is so strong is in Elestrals, when you search, when a card tells you to search, you have to reveal that card to your opponent, whatever you're searching for. When you use the effect Look, you do not have to reveal that. So Astravid is currently the only card in the game that has this Look effect, and it's very strong. We're gonna see some back row action here for Bean, and it looks like he's gonna pass there. DistantCoder, we know he's got the Viscerus. Again, an opportunity to potentially set up further with his Rabbit or continue the pressure. It's gonna be an Earth Spirit. It's gonna be the Equal Links. If he's got Demeter, this could be a really big set of plays for DistantCoder. It's an Earth Spirit. It's Demeter, the goddess of the harvest herself, coming down with 3 Earth Spirits to Rattless, fueling the power. The Nexus from Equal Links is going to pressure that face down rune. Going to pass it to the Links. The face down rune is what? It is a Gorgon's Gaze. Gorgon's Gaze going to be able to shut down the Equal Links Nexus effect, which means that Equal Links can no longer attack this turn. And it also means that the buff that Demeter provides does not allow it to hit over the Astravid, but we see a big play there, the Earthquake, allowing them to take out the Rabbit And then we're going to see 2 spirits of damage onto Bean Soldier as the Equal Links cannot attack this turn due to the Gorgon's Gaze. Bean Soldier down to 14, has no field, but the Earthquake comes out. 2 spirits to play that Earthquake. Equal Links goes down. Good trade there for Bean Soldier, preventing the Equal Links from dealing even more damage and then removing it once again. Here comes an Earth Spirit from Bean. It's going to be the Viscerus, the exact card you want here to try to come back, but what is Coder's face down row look like? Is there a tsunami there? There's a face down from Bean Soldier. Viscerus looking to pop off. When it connects and KOs an Elestral, it can swarm another Viscerus to the field, but it gets stopped immediately by Tsunami. Change the position of all those non-water enchanted Elestrals. You often see high-level players utilizing water spirits in their spirit deck to get around Tsunami, which has had a very prevalent appearance here in this event today. And I think one of the things that could elevate water as we head towards Frostfall Set 2, water almost instantly gets a buff if you can remove 3 cards from your opponent's deck by preventing them from even having those plays. Here comes an Equal Links. He's going to be able to use its effect again. Another Stellar Equal Links. All the blinged out cards. He's going to be able to use the Equal Links Nexus to pop that face down rune from Bean Soldier if he wants to again, and make it so that back row is going to be non-existent. Could potentially hit for 2 after that. Here it comes. Does he have another Gorgons to save him? The Nexus play onto the Equal Links. What is the face down rune for Bean Soldier? It's going to be gone in the second. It's another Gorgon's Gaze. Wow. Gorgon's Gaze stops the Equal Links again, but here's the deal. He can still disenchant the Demeter, buff the attack of his Astrabit to hit the Viscerus, and then hit directly with Rummagem. That's a pretty good set of plays there if you're Coder, because even though the Gorgon stopped you, you at the very least got rid of the Viscerus. And that was the main objective of the turn. Bean Soldier draws. We're at an 8-8 clash, but Coder's got 4 spirits on field with 3 Elestrals. That is a big hill to climb, and there's one Elestral that can help you climb it faster than any other. That is Viscerus. Will we see another one from Bean Soldier? No, we see Rummagem, which can get him that Viscerus. Rummagem hits the field, gonna search out any one of those Earth Elestrals. Let's see what Bean grabs. I think Viscerus is the play. Let's do a quick listen in.
Too late to respond.
No, you're not too late to respond.
Yeah, that's fine. That's entirely my bad. I just didn't.
And a huge play there, going for the Gorgon's Gaze of his own to stop the search on Rummagem and prevent it from crashing this turn. So this is a pretty big play from Coder, saving his Gorgon's Gaze until the late part of the game. We have a 5-6 clash, 1 spirit face down. If you're Coder, all you're worried about here is a Tsunami, and you can Nexus with Equal Links to reduce the likelihood of that happening. We see 6 spirits on Coder's end. We believe there's 5 on Bean's end. All you got to do is Nexus from Equal Links over to Rummagem and pop that face down rune. If you do that, you are in a commanding position. Looks like he's setting up for it. He's going to reach for it. Equal Links Nexus just putting on so much pressure in this clash. Let's see. That could give Coder the first game of this best of 3. You can pop those face down runes, man. So powerful because the Tsunami doesn't save you. Going to Nexus from Rummagem? No, he's going to take it from the Links and just pass it to... He's debating. He's actually going to pass it from the Rummagem onto the Rabbit and pop the face down Demeter. And now he's going to cast another Spirit and get Viscerus out. Viscerus hits the field. That's going to be game. Viscerus takes out the Rummagem. He's going to hit for 4. And it looks like they're scooping this one up. DistantCoder takes it and is going to go to game 2 up 1-0. He was able to get that early pressure with the Equal Links, popping lots of face down runes. Bean had those Gorgon's Gaze, but he was forced to use them every time to prevent those Nexus plays from getting out of hand. And then when it mattered most in the late game, Coder had his own Gorgon's Gaze to shut down the plays. I mean, how sick is it to join a new game that you know is about to be hype, and you get to do it at the beginning, so you're in early? You know, how often do you wish like you could have gotten in at another game like at the beginning, right? And the opportunity is right in front of you. And DistantCoder, my dude's, you know, he's a very established content creator. He's got a big YouTube channel playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And he's taking his whole Sunday to play. This is not sponsored. My dude's here throwing down. He believes in the game. Bean Soldier believes in it. All the people competing today obviously do. So it's really exciting to see that much hype around the game. So thank you, Mojo. I appreciate that, man. So a good turn there for Bean, getting his Elichick off. That's going to get him the Demeter. Going first in Elestrals is generally considered advantageous because you're able to set your back row first, which means you can respond to your opponent's play on their first turn, and you kind of set the momentum. The kind of counterpoint to that is DistantCoder does get an extra draw. Bean Soldier is a very talented Yu-Gi-Oh player, shows how skills in different card games can transfer to Elestrals. Very fair. We're going to see that turn to Elichick mirror here. DistantCoder's got an Elichick of his own. Gonna grab that Demeter, full art Demeter from the Kickstarter. And now Coder looking to pressure. Do you go for the crash here, or do you use your own Demeter to try to power up over? One of the things about Elestrals right now is the meta game is very much so defined around a handful of counter runes, and I think that'll be the case, but in future sets there's gonna be more ways to kind of deal with them. But if you're Coder here, you have a few different ways you can approach this clash. You can start to try to bash forward and deal with those counter runes with using cards like Demeter here to buff your Elichick. You know that they're there. You got to get rid of them at some point. So oftentimes the best way to deal with them is early game, just brute force your way through them, so that way you can set up for future turns. Because if you don't pressure them now, you know you're going to be dealing with even more later on. So he is going to pressure it. That's going to put Bean Soldier kind of on the reaction. He's going to be forced to use one of those runes. He's going to use a Tsunami. So kind of the thing I'm talking about, right? Like, if you're Coder, you lose a Spirit on your Demeter to do that play, but you get rid of a Tsunami. So now that's one less counter that you have to deal with later if you can set up. If you're Bean Soldier, you got to be feeling pretty good because you're like, wait a minute. I have now the free reign to take over this field. So, and something like a Viscera's could really do that well. But we're going to see a Thunder Spirit, and we're going to see a second Elichick. So an opportunity to grab another Demeter from his deck. Not that I anticipate seeing him use, you know, 2 Demeters in this early part of the clash. It's still helpful, if not to just thin your deck out, right? Because every card that you're taking out of your deck and putting into your hand increases the chance of you drawing another card that you might need, like an Earthquake later on in the clash, or a Shield of Achilles or something like that. So deck thinning, anytime you can search, gonna be really strong. And that's why we see cards like Elichick and Astrabbit splashed into these Earth decks, right? You might be like, well, if you're running Earth, why does he have Thunder Elestrals? But that's the beauty of Elestrals, in my opinion, is there's a really dynamic way where you use your resource and your spirits to kind of configure these Elestrals in a cool way to run different elements. Because the way I designed the game was that elements could have things that they could do well, but they're blended between the elements. So it's not just like Fire does one thing, but it has cards that may apply in other decks. In this case, Thunder is very good at Thunder Nexus, but some of those cards can really support other decks as well. Elichick being one of those main ones, being able to search out those Divine Runes. Equalinks hits the field here for DistantCoder after that Tsunami. It's going to be met by a Poison-Tipped Arrow. That's going to make him rethink that Nexus play, but at the very least, he gets rid of one of those counter runes. He is going to be able to Nexus from the Equalinks onto the Elichick and pop the other face-down rune. That's going to get rid of the face-down Demeter as a bluff, and Coder's in a position where he can clear the field here with Demeter, or with Elichick and Equalinks. He's going to do just that. Equalinks at 4 attack, or I'm sorry, Equalinks at 2 attack, able to take out one Elichick. Elichick able to take out the other Elichick. And now Equalinks will go down at the end of the turn with the Poison-Tipped Arrow. So at the very least, if you're Bean Soldier, you lose your field, but you're not that far behind. If you play an Earthquake or a Laurels here, you're right back in this one. He's going to take that 1 Spirit of damage. Looks like he's expending to draw, if I'm not mistaken. In Elestrals, you can forego your normal cast for the turn to expend a Spirit, pay 1 Spirit, to draw an extra card, so you get 2 draws in the turn. Oftentimes you'll do that when you're fishing for a specific combo piece, or in the early game it's a little easier to get away with because you're not going to fall as far behind on the board state. But nonetheless, Coder's still threatening here. He's got 2 spirits on his Elichick. He's going to throw down a Rummagem. That's actually huge. Being able to search his deck now for any Earth Elestral he wants. He's going to grab Equalinks. He's going to continue to pressure that face down back row. The fact that Equalinks can do this sets it so far ahead of a lot of the competition. He's going to hit for 3, but a Tsunami's going to stop him. Tsunami comes into play, shifts both Elichick and Rummagem to defense, and now Bean Soldier's in a position where he can try to push back on this clash. Last turn, he went for the Expend the Draw to get another card. This turn, he's looking to play an Elestral to start to gain back some momentum, but Coder has 2 face-down runes, so it's not a clear path here. You're looking for something like a Viscerous. Earth Spirit hits the field. It's Elichick, Misenchanted Elichick. Probably recognizing there's not much of a reason to grab another Demeter, or he doesn't have it. He may only run 2 Demeters with 3 Elichicks. Earth Spirit Elichick, that does allow him to take out Coder's Elechick if he wants. Coder has an opportunity to activate a counter rune. If he has something like a Shield of Achilles, that could be huge. Bean Soldier is going to set a rune face down, but it's tough because you know Equal Links can hit the field on the next turn. Elechick fires off an attack into the opposing Elechick. Remember, misenchanted Elestrals are Elestrals that have different spirits on them than their element type. That means they don't have an effect, but they still have the same attack and defense. So sometimes you'll do that to get around certain effects. Other times you'll do that because, you know, in this case, Elechick's effect maybe isn't that important for Bean, and he'd rather just use one of those Earth Spirits to save his Thunder Spirits for an Astrabit later. Gorgon's Gaze from DistantCoder, but he's going to pull one of the spirits off of his Elechick to do it, which I find interesting because I think that you could have potentially kept it on the Elechick, because then you give the Equal Links another spirit to move without losing one of your Elestrals. So I'm wondering if, you know, maybe he should have just grabbed it from the spirit deck, both of them. But if he has a Demeter, it's a moot point. But he's going to lose his Rummagem to do that play, right? So he could have kept another body on the field, but there's a Gorgon's Gaze. He's going to shut it down. He's going to stop the Equal Links Nexus, or rather the Equal Links from attacking, and then we're going to see a crash. The two Elechicks run into each other. And honestly, if you're Bean Soldier, you got to be feeling pretty good because he's got the resting on your laurels. He's going to take out the Equal Links as well. And that is why that play there with going back to DistantCoder's Gorgon's Gaze and then the Rummagem play, by losing Rummagem on the field, that's one less Celestial you have, and also could have potentially protected himself there from the Laurels play. Hindsight 2020, Monday morning quarterbacks always know the right answer. No Elestral cast from Bean Soldier. DistantCoder draws 2 face down runes, looking to secure this one. He's got 3 spirits up. Here comes Viscerus. Viscerus hits the field, gonna put on some offensive pressure. He's gonna fire off an attack and deal 1 spirit of damage to Bean. Bean Soldier looking for answers. Gonna grab his rune. What is it? Viscerus, one of the reasons that Earth Beaters is so strong. It's one of the best offensive cards in the game. Can be splashed into a ton of decks. It's just a 5 attacker that gets another 5 attacker onto the field. Like, it's very, very good. This is a big deal for these casters. DistantCoder looking for his 2nd Elestrals tournament win, the winner of the Elestriad as well. One could argue that DistantCoder is the most dominant Elestrals player in the world right now, at least on the webcam side. Jack Kiyomu might have something to say on the digital side. A Viscerus mirror match, ladies and gentlemen. Another one comes down, but poison-tipped arrow, perfectly timed for DistantCoder. That's gonna make it so this Viscerus can no longer crash, and it's gonna be gone at the end of the turn. Bean Soldier's hopes may have just deflated like a sluggle that got popped like a pincushion. An Earthquake comes down though. 2 spirits from Bean Soldier from an Earthquake. No, rather gonna pull one off of the Viscerus, knowing he's gonna lose it at the end of the turn. And he takes him out. An interesting play there. If you do the math on that, he could have hit for 1 and forced another expend. So he could have forced Coder into 2 spirits lost in exchange for just 1 spirit there. Coder's gonna get Rummagem. That's gonna get him the search. He grabs Equal Links again. We've seen this book before. We read these pages. Oh my goodness. Rummagem gonna attack for 1, most likely. Just a little chip here onto Bean Soldier. I think we've got a 9-5 clash. Coder in a commanding position. Bean Soldier looking to climb back. After losing that Viscerus, that's pretty tough. Gonna take that spear, gonna go for the expend to draw. Hail Mary opportunities here, trying to find those last couple cards from his deck. He's got a couple counter runes face down, setting a full back row, knowing that the Equal Links is about to pressure. Almost forced into doing that. You can see how much Equal Links has been forcing these casters to bluff these runes, right? Because if Equal Links pops the right thing, it's going to be very difficult. Here comes Tectorus rather than the Equal Links. Not what Beam is expecting. 2 Elestrals attack. Is there a tsunami here? No, he's going to take both hits, it seems. Bean Soldier with 1 spirit left. Is there a play?
I'll
Just do
PTA
it.
that, lol, like...
Yep, crash.
I'm just like, does
yeah,
this
you
matter?
got it. Like,
GG's, bro.
yeah, GG's. It's good.
And DistantCoder takes it with an emphatic 2-0 to win the Elestrals Webcam Championship against the Elestronauts partner, Bean Soldier. Coder's got his 2nd Webcam tournament win in a row. A dominant performance from DistantCoder, working his way through the top cut once again. Didn't drop a single game in the top cut and wins 2-0 over Bean Soldier with Earth Beaters. He does it again. Congratulations, DistantCoder.